Yeah. You're first up, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. Good evening, councillors. Good evening, members of the public. Thank you for attending. Our housekeeping is if the fire alarm goes, there is definitely a fire and we need to leave the building by the easiest escape, either behind you or in front of you or climb out the window, but there is a fire. Also on the corridor outside are some ladies and gents toilets. Thank you. I'd like to welcome you to the Finance Committee meeting of Handforth Town Council. First item on the agenda, 22011, to receive apologies for absence. None, thank you. 22012, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Clerk, I have a non-pecuniary interest as I am the governor at Handforth Grange School. Any other councillors?
I don't know whether I need to declare an interest in that item as well. Actually, with my children being at the school and my wife being a governor as well.
None for me. I also need to declare an interest in 220112 as our grandson attends the school.
I also need to declare an interest as my grandson is pupil at the school who would probably benefit from this. But I'd like to know the extent of, given that there's a pupil there, am I able to comment, but not vote? Okay.
Can you just advise us, Clerk, of if we have a non-pecuniary interest? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. 22013. This is the open forum for members of the public to ask questions on items on the agenda and matters in which the chairman's view require debate and or discussion will be referred to the next committee council meeting as appropriate. The public forum is restricted to 15 minutes unless the chairman allows otherwise. Members of the public, do you have any questions? None, Clerk. 22014, to approve and sign the minutes of Handforth Town Council Finance Committee meeting held on the 12th of October 2021. I assume we've all read through the minutes. Are there any amendments from any councillors, please?
No.
Can I have a proposer to accept the minutes, please? Councillor Millward. Seconder, Councillor Sullivan. Thank you. Uh, 22015, recommendations for expenditure to retrospectively approve the following items. There weren't any. To consider any other recommendation requests, and there weren't any either. 22016, to receive a copy of the latest bank reconciliation, month ends December 2021. Any comments from any councillors, please? Can I have a councillor to accept the bank reconciliation? Councillor Julie Smith, Seconder, Councillor Seymour. Thank you. To approve the quarterly income and expenditure account for quarter 3. I was the lucky person to do the audit on these, and I think I drew the short straw because I had to go back 3 months over the petty cash. You'll be pleased to note that our accounts are in a very healthy position. There was one small anomaly which we have updated our procedure, whereby sometimes the clerk has to use his own credit card to pay urgent bills and reimburses himself from petty cash. We are now going to authorise him to use his own credit card and reimburse him by petty cash. But thank you, Ashley, for the very hard work you did, and it was very pleasing to see a very good set of income and expenditure, and I'd be proud to audit them anytime. Can I have a proposer to accept quarter 3? Of course, sorry.
Have a card.
Apparently, we were going to look into this, weren't we, Ashley, about having a credit card for the town council. However, it can be open to abuse, and as long as we know that Ashley has used his credit card, and I saw all the documentation and it all fitted, and the only thing he hadn't done was told either the chair or vice chair to have it authorised. But it was during the Christmas holidays anyway. Any other comments from councillors? Can I have a proposer to accept the income and expenditure? Councillor John Smith, a seconder. Councillor Seymour, all in favour? Thank you. 22018, the internal controls for quarter 3. I've just discussed some of it. Ashley keeps a very, very good receipt of income and expenditure. There was no missing invoices. The checkbook was perfectly made up to date. The bank reconciliations were all done on time, and I'd like to personally thank Ashley for the way he produces the accounts, and it is a credit to him. Can I have a proposer to accept the internal controls, please? Councillor Millward, seconder. Councillor Julie Smith, all in favour? Unanimous. 22019, to receive the interim internal auditor's report. I did go through this with Ashley at the time I did the quarterly check, and there isn't anything other than the fact that they want us to go out and get tenders for the lights and for the maintenance man, which Ashley Julie did, but they want it on a 6-month rolling programme. Now, the lights are on a 3-year contract, so we don't need to go out and get another company. The maintenance actually went to 5 different companies, and none of them were interested in doing the work that Ashley laid out. So obviously we have retained our maintenance officer, Mr. Paul Redwood. Now, if any other councillors have got any other ideas of how we progress this, but I feel that Paul Redwood does an excellent job, and why change somebody that's doing such a good job? I think the internal auditor has to make sure that he earns his cup of tea, and that was the only item he found in everything else. So I'm not at all worried that we're not progressing in the right manner. Any comments from anybody?
Yes, please. I've got a couple of things I want to ask. You've just talked about the auditor picking up on the 3 quotations, and also in the report he mentioned the not by name, but he mentioned the Avonshaw debacle. I would hope that that is fully written up in the next audit, that it is put in black and white that agreement was entered into quite illegally. It did not go through any financial checks as it should have done. There were no 3 quotations. That did not happen. And yet we ended up with a contract in excess of £9,000. I want to make sure that that is put in our next audit so that the general public know exactly what went on with the 3 councillors who have now left. The other thing is, and it's something I've been banging on about for a while, and that's people using private email addresses. It just leaves the council open to being things being got at. It's so easy these days with all these clever people out there on the internet. Well, I'm sure they could find other things to do, but they don't. Pinching stuff, and I'd rather see people using the official email addresses. And the last one was about the lights. I think if he's going to make comments about the lights, I think then we should go out and say, well, here is a contract, here is a quotation against it, if there's anybody there. But if there isn't, what can you do about it?
Can I just say that because we're in a 3-year contract, we would be liable to pay the light company a redemption fee if we stopped it and went elsewhere. Although Ashley did go out and try and get some quotes for lights, and we've got a very, very good deal. Yeah, he wants us to. Sorry, can I just inform the councillors? He wants us to do contracts finder, which we have to pay for. Now, I don't see the benefit of paying a contracts finder to do the job that Ashley's already been doing.
No, I don't know. No. Thank you.
Yeah, can I just echo what Councillor Moore said about the... It's not using it, yes. Yeah, echo what Councillor Moore said about the Avonshaw, and that when we do ask the auditor to look into it, that he refers to the standing orders that were not followed, and that the procedural issues that should be in there as well. Okay. As for the comments about the lights and the maintenance man, the benefits that we've got with the current maintenance man is that he's local, is that he responds quickly. We've got no guarantee from anyone else that they're going to turn up when they say they do. I've had occasions in the past to get in touch directly for us to get something resolved quickly, and the guy responds. He's also doing an excellent job for Wimslow. So it's not as if there's favouritism from this point of Handforth, because other people are employed to do this job as well. I think also, is it Poynton or Bollington? Alderley Edge? Yeah, so he's working flat out for satisfying all these parish councils. So I think it's very useful that we've got his services. And one of the things, just to mention, that came out from the report, if I just read out the conclusion from JDH report, where it says, on the basis of the internal audit work carried out, which was limited to the tests indicated above, in our view, the council's system of internal controls is in place, adequate for the purpose intended, and effective. The recommendations reported over leave should be implemented, as Councillor Sampson says, as part of the internal audit work for the next financial year. So that's his summary. Thank you.
Could I just add a point to the what you were mentioning there, Councillor Sampson, about the auditor kind of directing us towards a particular solution? In my experience, auditors shouldn't really be doing that. They identify non-compliances and gaps, and then it should be the council that suggests solutions to close those. So I think he potentially is slightly out of his remit there.
Thank you, Councillor Millward. So any other comments from any of the councillors? Can I have a proposer to accept the internal auditor's report? Councillor John Smith, seconder. Councillor Kerry Sullivan, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. Sorry. 220110, to consider a grant application received from St Benedict's Primary School for the purchase of 2 bug hotels and associated equipment as part of an ongoing ecological project, and make recommendation to full council. Grant requested £909.90. Can we have comments from any councillors? But we're fortunate enough to have the head teacher from St Benedict's. So if she wants to speak to the grant application and then you ask her questions, will that be all right, councillor? Okay, Hannah.
We don't have this at school. Very fancy. So yes, we have asked the council for grant of two bug hotels. 2 bug hotels. Is that better? Is it a bit echoey?
Thank you, Hannah. Questions from councillors, please?
Yes, I just had one. It looks like it's on the agenda. At least it says it's part of an ongoing ecological project. Is it the first stage, or it has? Okay. So it sounds fabulous. Yeah.
May I have a question? Is this, I might have missed this, so apologies if you've already said this. Are they building this or does it come ready? It comes ready. Okay. I must say that's but having said that you've already built some bug hotels, then, I'm happy with that. But could I just make one kind of a bit of an off-piste comment that if you want to encourage the wildlife, you need to sort the hedgerow at the front where all those leylandii that are either neither use nor ornament, of half of them have died. Has Jonathan been in touch from the woodland group? Because, well, I'll send him your email, because that would give you both privacy and a great place for all sorts of insects and birds and animals if you have a proper hedge there. Right. Yeah, well, the group will actually help you do that. Sorry, I'm talking about other things, but the group will help you plan for everything. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes, it's just worth mentioning that Councillor Moore, the people that she's talking to are part of the main strategy, the full strategy that we're talking about for Handforth. So they are already involved in different areas in the council.
Councillors, any more questions for the head teacher? Can we have a proposer to accept the grant application? Councillor Moore. Seconder, Councillor Sullivan. All those in favour? Carried. Okay. We look forward to coming to see it. Yes. Yes, please. Yeah, thank you. The next item on the agenda is 220111, to consider a grant application received from Handforth Hall Tennis Club to completely relay the top court for safety reasons and make recommendations to full council. Grant requested is £1,000. I understand there is a lady here from the tennis club. Yes.
Can I just clarify? First of all, thank you very much.
The grant application is £1,000 unless the council deem that it's a special project. Councillor Julie Smith wants to speak. Go on, Julie.
Yeah. Speaking with my Cheshire East head on, can we speak following this meeting?
Yes.
Please, because there may be a way to help. Okay.
I'm doing this solo,
Oh.
And also, there are a lot of avenues you can follow, like Sport for All. It doesn't matter whether it's tennis, football, cricket, hockey. If you apply to them and you can prove that you can make it work, they're always very obliging. But one of the suggestions I'd like to offer is that you have an open day, and we can promote it through our website. And I know there's other people here that have access to Facebook and such like. Have an open day and see how many children you get interested. They could maybe sign up that day.
Can I just refer back to a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, the then parish council gave grants for as many children as wanted to go along to the tennis club and be coached. Was it about 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Yeah, is that something that you would encourage again? Right.
I'm here to
Great.
learn. So anything that you can offer and suggest, I will take very seriously.
Yeah.
Try to get it into a format where I can present it to my meeting.
Okay.
Yes, can I just, sorry, I was about to say before Hannah mentioned, is it worthwhile getting a relationship, not just with St Benedict's, but the other two local schools, and perhaps take tennis to them, and then as you build up the interest, then you get your facilities following that, because if there's interest, there's usually grants available. Yeah. Yeah.
Could I just ask a question? The apologies if this is in the pack, but just in respect to the bits, there is a point in there about children or the schools paying a little bit of money for each child that's playing, and also a bit in there about access rights for club members. Who actually owns the courts? Is it the club? Okay.
Everything about access and the legality of access and health and safety. This is very much the first approach. And I used to be an insurance broker. I am more than aware of all the pitfalls that were made coming up.
Sure. Okay.
Obviously, if we're going to do this, it's where it's our records and something back.
One question that came up when I read through the details. £10,000 is I think the cost is said. 12 is it? Right. So how much of that do you already have to hand?
It was almost right to say, but luckily we got the 10,000 grand from Chester Rates. But the bank balance, I can't just remember what it is. I'm sorry, I found it. Okay. But I know that our council and our treasurer says we need to keep certain of that.
Sure. Yes.
So we have to keep the balance.
Yeah, and you mentioned about the court rapidly becoming slippy, as you said, and emerging bumps from the tree roots. How much will the roots continue to be a problem? Or are you having those looked at?
As they're going to go down that part, they're going to completely redo and relay the board. Not just servicing, completely relay it.
And there's the target date, I presume, has changed from December.
They're doing it now.
Excellent. Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, any other questions to the chair of Handforth Tennis Club? Can I have a proposer to accept the grant? Councillor Julie Smith. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Kerry Sullivan. All those in favour of giving £1,000? Thank you. Passed. But can we put on the next agenda, the Finance Committee agenda, please, Ashley, about looking at maybe providing some funding for the children of Handforth too? Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Next, but by no means least, 220112, to consider a grant application received from Handforth Grange Primary School for astroturfing of a ground area and a large swing for children with ASD and complex needs, and make recommendation to full council. The grant requested is over and above our limit, but I would really like the Deputy Head, Miss Dolby, to come and speak to us, because she's requesting £2,167. Thank you, Jess. Any comments from any councillors, please?
Yes, I've got a comment. I appreciate I can't vote on this one, but yeah, I've got a couple of years of experience of Handforth Grange. One of the things that really strikes me is the approach at Handforth Grange to incorporating apologies if I get the terminology wrong here, children with unusual needs or special needs right into the classes with all the other children, so that the other children grow up in a way where it's not unusual. They kind of get used to what those needs might be. So I think that strikes me really as a very special thing.
I just sort of wanted to reiterate what Councillor Millwood said, actually. My children are 17 and 16 now, but they did go to Hamforth Grange. And I have to say, in both years, they had children with special needs in their years. And I always loved the fact that they were never treated differently. You know, they should be given the same opportunities. I 100% fully support this. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I love the fact that even, you know, now my children benefited from having those, you know, having children with special needs around them. I remember having to write a note for my daughter to say that she could go in the I don't know if it's still called the Rainbow Room. Yeah, I've been in that room. It's amazing. And it was years ago, so I can't imagine how it's, you know, it must have improved so much since then. But yeah, I just think this is a fantastic idea, and I fully support it.
Councillor Smith.
Yes, as I declared it before, I do have an interest, as I have a grandson who is special needs. And my daughter, his mother, can't say enough about how good he gets treated there. I won't be able to vote on this, but my only concern is that the amount is outside our normal grant amount. If those three grant applications that we've seen this evening would potentially take the budget for the rest of the year, which I'm sure could be managed, but I just need to say that as a caveat, that that's the only concern that I have.
Yes, Councillor Smith, I did note that we're nearly at the top of the range, but I don't want it to detract from this very special grant, because even though I'm a governor at the school, the number of children in Handforth with special needs, and I say special, that are benefiting from all the teaching, all the equipment, and I know they've gone outside to other organisations to get money because Cheshire East cannot fund it.
May I just say that I think that this is just the sort of thing that the Town Council is here to support and promote, and it's the sort of thing that benefits our children in Handforth and their futures, and I don't see how you can possibly vote against it. Sorry, but there you are.
Any other questions for Ms Dolby? No. Those that can't vote are Councillor Millward, Councillor Smith, Councillor Julie Smith. I have a non-pecuniary interest, even though I'm a governor, and I've been advised by the parish clerk that I can vote. So can I have a proposer to accept this over amount first, please? Councillor Kerry Sullivan. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Susan Moore. All those in favour that are able to vote? Motion carried. Thank you very much, councillors. That concludes the finance meeting, and the meeting closed at 7:15. Thank you, everybody.